graduated, elevated. Now it's my time to shine, yeah, let's go. Major moves, power moves, take it to the top one time, non-stop.
Hello, Suela, and welcome to Ph.D. Hard Talk. Thank you so much for your time today. Could you please introduce yourself, your DBA, and your university?
Yeah, thank you so much, Noma. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful being here with you and having this PhD hard talk. My name is Suela Tuci. I am a DBA student in Part 2 in University of Wales, Trinity, St. David. I've just started my research on personal professional brand. So this is my topic. I'm doing my DBA in this topic. What are the key success factors that contribute to the development of personal professional branding among entrepreneurs in London? Personal branding actually is quite big as a topic, is within the marketing field, which I'm in. I've been working in marketing industry for more than 18 years now. So I thought that looking at the perspective, working with all these big clients such as Samsung Electronics, Visa, World Bank, etc., all these big brands, let me see another perspective of branding, which is personal branding.
No, I love it. I love it. I think also in terms of the era that we're in at the moment, there is a lot of growth when it comes to personal branding due to social media, which moves me on to the next question, which is why did you apply for a PhD with 18 years experience in your field?
Very good question. Well, at the very beginning, only thinking of doing a doctorate, it was terrifying, believe me, Noma. And I was like, so much work to do, writing, doing all that write-up, researching, doing scientific, what's called scientific work, all these researches. It was like, how can I do all that? And because I'm a lot into practice, although I have lots of academic background as well, and also it's my experience as a lecturer, I felt that it was a point in my career and my professional life, which I felt like we're using in research, a saturation point in a career, that I wanted something new. I wanted something to challenge myself, but in the meantime, to research more and to serve me, not only academically, but also in practice. So that's why I decided to do a DBA, which it's a doctorate in business administration, and it's still it's a professional doctorate, but it's more focused on practical and also theoretical knowledge, as I'm more practice driven. So I'm a practitioner. It combines practical application with the advanced research skills. So that made it perfect for me in all aspects, in career, academic, and to apply it in practice.
I love that. So then the next question is, what are the top 3 things that one must consider when applying for a DBA?
What must consider? Well, I would say that the DBA or PhD is a journey. And I wouldn't consider it as only as the title that you get, or the topic, the thesis that you'll have, that book, which when I think how many would read it from the very beginning to the end, when professors, of course, they have to, the supervising professors, professors in the Viva, yourself, which you'll be fed up with that, but how you will make value of that, how you will use it, how you will apply it, because this is my main aim, why I'm doing this DBA. So this is the first thing. It's a journey, so you should consider it like that, not like a title of a doctorate. Whoever thinks of doing a PhD or a doctorate, it has to come from their passion. So a topic that they are passionate about, and to give meaning to their study. For me, these 3 things are really important.
No, I think I would agree with you to say a PhD is a journey because I feel like I've learned a lot about myself. Not necessarily my topic. I have learned things about my topic, but I've learned so much about myself in terms of resilience and being dedicated and learning to love my research when I feel like giving up, which
Mhm.
is quite difficult at times because you're just like, oh, I just want to finish.
I would add something here.
Mhm.
So as in the same journey with many other researchers in PhD or DBA, we have this pressure,
Mm.
which I wouldn't like to define it or frame it as stress, but rather making this pressure as a privilege, or turning this kind of anxiety that we have into excitement will make it or help you to go until the very end. So in my first year of my research, I've written 6 research papers. I have presented my topic in 3 conferences.
Mm.
It has been tough. It has been hard,
Mhm.
but I've tried to do my best to turn this pressure into a privilege of, have the opportunity to help me to shine out there and to improve, because it's a journey. If I set myself all the time that I'm learning on this, it will make me a privilege of, well, I'm learning this. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's the journey is amazing, and it exactly how you explained it. It's more about to discover yourself. I have unlearned many things
Mhm.
and relearned them. So this is how I would explain it.
No, I love that. And I think the key point that you've mentioned, you've unlearned, because I had to unlearn myself, basically. I like to be controlling, but there's so many variables that you can't control when you're doing research. For example, your participants. You can't tell them, log in, I need to talk to you. You know, if they can't make it, they can't make it. So no, thank you very much. Which moves us on to the topic at hand, which is what is personal professional branding?
Branding has existed like the human history,
Mm.
since branding in general, since when people had to brand their animals, things, so from products, services, companies, etc. But the aspect of personal branding is a more, well, people would say it's a more holistic way, because
Mm.
most of the people would like to buy products or services, but actually, human beings would like to know stories.
Mm.
So, do me a favor, go to any famous person out there, look at their personal profiles and look at their company profiles. So are you more interested in their stories, in their success and failures? And so they have more followers on their personal accounts rather than their company accounts. And another and most important thing is the person becomes a goal. So if you shape personal branding properly yourself, you do it deliberately, you decide to do a plan how or to define yourself as I stand for something. I'm a go-to person for this thing. It can be like a tiny little thing, but people know you for that. You share a message, and all these in professional aspects. So in my research, I am aiming to create a framework or model that entrepreneurs, so I'm focused on entrepreneurs in London, can use or can apply, so their personal professional branding is a successful one. Looking on other success stories. So let's see how the research will go until the very end. But yeah, to sum up, personal branding is what other people say. So it's your reputation, what other people say about you when you're not in the room. And you have to showcase all these, including here your values, your expertise, your interest, all together, and showcase in a professional aspects, of course. So I'm not researching on personal branding in other environments such as society or family relations, etc. So it's only on, that's why I have named it personal professional branding, so only career wise.
I love that. And just to expand and to ask a question, what people say about you when you're not in the room, that is something that most of us have an oversight on. Could you take us through that in terms of your research? What does it actually mean?
So in my research, I have framed or focused on some main pillars. So I'm also researching on what's out there. So what other authors and literature has already researched on that, starting from the identity and positioning, or re-identity and repositioning, because there have been, and let me just explain briefly on that, because there have been lots of cases where people professionally position themselves, they are identified in a certain area or for a certain being a go-to person for something, and they would just say, well, if this is not what I want, this is not what I love doing, because it's about that niche. Sometimes people find themselves in a certain career or profession because of they found a job, and then they discover it's not their niche, meaning it's not what they love doing. It might be something they are very skilled. They might win lots of money, etc., but it's not what they love doing, or might not be something that the audience wants. So it's about having all these niche all together, finding the golden ratio. So people will re-identify or reposition yourself. This is the main pillar. And then it's the visual branding, how you showcase yourself, starting from the colors you use, the style, how you, let's say in your case, so if I would say in your case, you already have your visual branding, you have the colors, you have that background, you have that music in the, the music in the in all of the videos. So I can tell the tone or the style of your brand. And this is what people trying to be original and authentic, sharing these values, the style, but of course their expertise, because we're talking about professional aspect, and also their interest. So being this is the core, being authentic and being unique and sharing your values. This makes you special. So if thousands of people or millions of people, they're doing what you do or what I do. So one question, what makes me special? What makes me unique? This is how you people have to niche themselves and be authentic. And then the study goes on going further on online presence, choosing all the channels, the appropriate channels, which not as a per se, they have to use all channels. It depends where your audience is. People might use more LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever channel, or their own channels, creating a platform or a website. But this is according to their expertise, where their audience is, how they want to share it, including all these values, expertise, the tone of voice, and image, etc. And then is the communication and the content that they share. So how do they communicate? How people communicate their expertise, their go-to. Of course, there are several other aspects, including here the networking, the reputation, how it aligns with your career. So there are several main pillars that it has to be considered in personal professional branding, which I'm researching on that. And let me say now, I'll be happy when I finish my research to have another call together, a meeting together, so that I can share with you all my findings.
Yeah, that would be really exciting. And this moves us on to the next question, because I think this is important, which is, why are you focusing on London when we have Paris and we have New York, where we have, New York, you have a lot of real estate, there's so many entrepreneurs, everyone wants to make money, the land of the free, as they call it. And then Paris obviously is known for fashion, food, etc. And then you have London. I mean, why London?
In the first year of my research, I've done several research papers, which I've done all these researches in my country, in Tirana, Albania. Because of course I would like to do research in might be different countries or towns, but because I'm living in London and I have the access. In the meantime, London is such a vivid, with lots of successful entrepreneurs, with an environment which is so hectic sometimes, but in the meantime, it gives lots of opportunities. That's why I decided that London would be the perfect environment for me to search this, to research on this topic. And because most of successful entrepreneurs live in London. So this is one of the main reasons that I'm doing the research in London.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question has to do with your sample size. What is your sample size?
It has been quite a difficult decision on. So if I could see my first research proposal, it was a mixed method, including everything.
Can I say something? So when I received your information, I thought you were more quantitative until I read your information. Then I was like, oh, you're quantitative, but I was thinking quantitative. Not that I'm disappointed, but that's where I got to. So I was seeing mixed methods or more on quantitative, basically.
Because the topic is quite broad. Personal branding and then professional branding, still personal professional branding is still broad. So we know that it's better to go inch wide, but miles deep. This is what I believe will make me really have a thorough and very good research. So I wouldn't solve the problems of all personal branding issues or even investigating, let's say, if the research is in investigation. So first, I thought I will cover more career stages. So including here, in one of my research proposals, which I presented to my supervising professors, it was also celebrities, graduates, students. So I had to do all these, which maybe there would have been several studies in one. So then I thought, well, I have to be very precise on my research, looking very carefully on one aspect, and then leave some. Of course, it will have limitations, so leave some space and sparkle, some thoughts to research for other researchers. Let's say probably what I'm doing on for entrepreneurs, somebody can start from there and do another research on graduates or on celebrities, you know. So that's why I thought, or it might be my second research.
Why not?
Why do you find it so funny? You don't believe that I can do that?
No, do you know when we first spoke, and I don't think you remember when we first spoke, it was on Doctoral Fridays with Professor David Sapong, and you were asking about women and personal branding, saying you needed more papers, and I was like, look at the US, go to the US. I don't know if you remember, but that was the first time we spoke.
I remember it very well. And but you know, this is the journey what we are talking about. This is why it's so important. Of course, everybody can research on a topic, can find so many now. The information out there is huge, it's massive. It's so careful. As you mentioned, Professor David, I remember, and I really like that the idea of pearls of wisdom, considering, so I like to consider my research topic and all what I'm working on as pearls of wisdom, because they go in this process of every information, every single letter, word, whatever I write in that research thesis is like refined. So you find that pearl and you shape it, and you think of how the size, and you think how it will be in that line of the pearls of wisdom. So it is exactly that you go into details, but then you shape it to bring in a very clear. I really would like to be in the very end a thesis which somebody can read it easily and apply. And this is my aim with my research. I would like to have a research which is easily read by everybody that is a professional and entrepreneur that can apply. Of course, it has to be within the framework and how a research is done, but still I don't want to overcomplicate it. I want to be very, very practical. And why not extract it in, I will try to find all the opportunities either to publish but extract it in small crunches and share either publications or presentations, whatever. So wherever possible.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's one of the main drives with PhD Hard Talk, to say we need to disseminate our work and verbally or through illustration, so people understand and they see the benefit, because there's so much white paper out there, knowledge, that often people get confused with the information, or they just feel overwhelmed, or they don't take notice of the key bits of information, going back to the pearls of wisdom. So now the question that I have with your entrepreneurs, are you going to split them into males and females so that you can compare and contrast, or are you just putting everybody into one bucket?
I have, so the sample will be male and female entrepreneurs, which are above 5 years or so in a maturity stage. Which, how I would define this maturity stage, of course, is entrepreneurs that have shown success in the past 5 years. They're showing that their businesses, their entrepreneurships or ventures is successful. Because what I'm trying to find out on this qualitative research is to bring their successful approaches, tools, and strategies in a model, the framework that can be applied. So I have to be so careful with that, starting from the sample, which is to cover all aspects of successful. And then I have to define, of course, what successful means. But definitely it has to cover male and female, all entrepreneurs in maturity stage of their entrepreneurship.
So now going back to the point that you raised, to say companies or entrepreneurs that have shown success. So is that based on profit, to say they've met, let's say, a target of £1 million, or they've recruited staff, maybe they've got 10 headcount now, or because let's say some businesses don't make money for about 10 years anyway, essentially, or 5 years. What is the key benchmark? Because I think that will help us to have better understanding.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's something I'm still working on. But what I, apart from being in 5 at least, so it's not that they have to be only 5 years, so at least 5 years, they have to be profitable. So I'm looking at profit entrepreneurships, not other, let's say, organizations, non-profit. Of course, the structure, but sometimes in this case, it doesn't count because, you know, it might be, somebody might be a very good entrepreneur, which has lots of outsourcing. So I cannot frame only onto the number of employees, you know, because for me, in this case, I wouldn't consider it might be like a big factory with thousands of employees, but it's not the case. So I have to definitely define, but in a nutshell, define it exactly what it is, but in a nutshell, it's more than 5 years. It has to be a profit. Maybe I'll decide on a range of turnover, and also the location. So London, but still narrowed it down in more, so in central London or so, but I'm still working on that. But it's a very good question, and for me to think of it more. So thank you for bringing that up.
No problem. I think just to add on to that point is the industry, because it influences your profit as well. Certain industries, they can make a lot of money to then be acquired, like tech. They usually have a good turnover really quickly. Some of them anyway, not all of them, as we've seen. So I think that would be interesting in terms of adding on. And then the next point that I have is, at this moment in time, we know that we have, for example, baby boomers, we have millennials. There's, maybe we'll group them into 2. Then we have Gen Z, etc., etc. How are you going to work through that? Because their approach to business differs. And also this influences the businesses that they might get into, based on, you know, research findings. Are you focusing on that, or are you just saying, well, if you've got a business and you're in central London, let's go? Where are you?
I don't think I would consider the although maybe after the findings or after the sample, because of these criteria that I have already sat on, maybe they can fall on one or the other, but I will not consider that, because for me it's important that they set on these criteria, and then it depends. It's not as a rule of thumb that one generation or the other they have these characteristics. But yeah, definitely in my case, I wouldn't consider.
No, lovely. The next point is when it comes to entrepreneurs, we know other people, and I hate using this word, are serial entrepreneurs. So maybe it's not their first business. So are you saying an entrepreneur is a person who's starting a business and it's their first business, or their second or third or fourth? Because again, with experience and expertise, if you've had one that's basically done well, you have that, blueprint, don't you? Or even if it's failed, you do have learnings in terms of that. So you have a case study to work to. What are you focusing on there?
So yeah, you're right with entrepreneurs being like serial entrepreneurs, although might be in different industries, and what apply into industry that they have been successful does not apply in another, although might have this blueprint because it's I would consider all entrepreneurs that either they have one or more ventures or entrepreneurships. But I will look more in the aspect of how creative they have been on their entrepreneurship, what they brought. So I wouldn't go for a factory or let's say like a settled business, but focusing more on, it can be technology, it can be all these kind of entrepreneurships which include more creativeness. And this is how to relate it with personal branding, how they will brand, how they brand themselves, will bring out some very good findings, I guess.